We're gonna get you going, little buddy, here pretty soon. Don't worry. We're gonna get you going. So look at that. Got me a bright light. And I know, yeah, I need a bigger table, but this is all I have right now, all right? Because I got a bunch of stuff on these other tables that I don't know what it is, but a bunch of stuff. But got a brighter light. Look at this light. I was using this other little light and I was like, man, I can't see nothing. And I'm surprised that nobody complained about it, you know, on the video, that why am I working in the dark? Because the video looked like it was in the dark. So I went and got me a 150 watt LED light. Man, that thing is bright. Look at that. You can really see now. Looks fantastic. So, coffee's getting cold. So I got the cases clean. All fresh and so clean. And cleaned up the gasket area and everything. And I blew them all out. I mean, I cleaned them with gasoline, blew out all the holes, made sure the little holes, like this little one right here, which is the piston jet oil, made sure that one's blowing through and everything, and then cleaned them again, you know, with dish soap and washed them real good, get the gas off of it. And then I started oiling everything, and yes, I didn't take all the bearings out. I just blew them out real good, and then oiled them up. I did started putting stuff back in. I don't know why. I was going to put all, but then I thought, oh, I got to put this bearing here first. So I just took everything back out and left this back in. So yeah, I know I didn't take the bearings out, and that's probably not the right thing to do, but I think these bearings are going to survive. I might replace this one since it's going to the clutch basket. But all these other ones feel really good. This is the final drive, feels good. You know, they feel good once they're oiled up and everything. And I put them all together and put the shaft on there and spun them. They, you know, feel good and everything. And also, let's see, I took the oil pump apart. And it did have a little bit of a scratches, like maybe one or two. I think it was like little two of them around the pump side end, this case end. But I think it's going to survive. I just, you know, cleaned it up real good and sanded a little bit with 2000, and just, you know, it's not a real deep scratch. It did pick up something, you know, but it feels good now. Put it all back together. I did put some oil in it, stuck oil down here and turn it, and you can hear it sucking it up. It actually made a noise just like that. So I think it's going to pump. I do have to double check it though. So I got that all back in. You can almost hear it. Still pumping. So started checking all the where all the other bearings ride and everything, and checking the play on shafts and everything like that. Not really any damage. The transmission looks like it's never been used. There's no marks on the shifting levers. There's no, you know, the gear things that go to put the gears together, those little lugs. No damage on those. It's like it's never been used. It's absolutely amazing. You must have just really putted around with the bike. So all that looks good. So I was going to buy that, you know, I was having to buy this tool to get this nut off the clutch. 65 foot-pounds. I couldn't get it off, you know, and I should have took that off before I took the engine off the bike, but that's the way I do things, you know. So I went to get one of these impact drivers. And you know, I don't usually buy tools like this. When I do buy a tool like this, when I have to do a job, like last time I bought a Ryobi screw drill thing, you know, to do sheetrock, I'll buy it like that, and then once I just use it to, you know, and just throw it, you know. I don't really collect tools like that, you know. My friend, he has all the what's it called, DeWalt. He has DeWalt this, DeWalt that, and he has all the batteries and all the chargers. I mean, he's just crazy with the DeWalt. I don't care for that kind of stuff, but I thought, you know, I need one of these because some of these bolts are really tight. Like that one on the final drive, man, that was hell to get off. This one I couldn't get off, and it was torqued to 65 foot-pounds. So I thought, you know, instead of getting that holder tool, I really need one of these impact things. So I started looking at videos online, and the videos people talking about it. This one was highly rated. The Milwaukee was really strong, and people really liked the Milwaukee. And of course, there's DeWalt and Ryobi and all that. And I just wanted something cheap, you know. And I was thinking about getting a cheap one, you know. Then I started looking, and so then I went down there and thought, you know, I'll have to look at them. So I was thinking, you know, I'm gonna probably get the Milwaukee. So I went and looked at the Milwaukee, and I was like, I picked it up, and I was like, man, this thing didn't look right. It looked all cheap. The plastic didn't fit together good on the seams. You can tell it. And this little light here looked like cheap light, you know. The battery wobbled in it and had gaps. Everything looked, and it was bulkier, and everything just looked horrible about it. And I was like, man, I don't know, you know. And then I went and looked at the DeWalt, didn't like that one. Just picking it up, looking at it, you know, I was like, yeah. And I wasn't thinking about getting my Makita. I just wasn't thinking about the Makita. I was really wanting either the Ryobi because it was cheaper, you know, and or the Milwaukee. And so I went and looked at the Ryobi. The Ryobi felt real good in the hand, and it looked sturdy and well built. And it came with two 1.5 batteries. And then I looked at the Makita. And I was like, man, this thing is super light and it's short. And from what I saw in the videos, it's just as strong as any of the other ones, you know. I mean, I don't need something really strong for what this tool is intended for. That's what it's going to work for me, you know. And they had this one for $99 and a 3 amp hour battery. It has a bigger battery. I think the Milwaukee was a 2 amp. The Ryobi came with two 1.5 amp, and what was the DeWalt? I think it was a 2 amp or something, or a 1.3 amp actually. But man, when I saw this one, I was like, man, this one looks nice. The way everything fits together, the way the buttons feel, the shorter, you know, the look about it is a little shorter. And I was like, this one, man, it just, I don't know. I picked it up and I was like, this one feels a lot better than the other ones. The other ones just felt kind of bulky and everything. So I went with that one. And man, I put it on that bolt that was supposed to be on that clutch housing, the clutch basket bolt, and it knocked it off there. 2 hits, real easy. So I'm glad I bought that, and I didn't go with the Milwaukee. I don't know. When I picked up the Milwaukee and the battery's rattling, and the way I started looking at it, I was like, man, this thing looks like some real cheap plasticky thing, and this little light up here didn't look good, just looked crappy. And then there was a gap down here on the plastic, and the way it just, I don't know. Oh, if you notice, even the Makita right here, this is an inset of a different white plastic. Well, the Milwaukee, it was just painted, and all the paint was wearing off and made that thing look even more. I know that's stupid, but you know, it's just a tool. But I don't know, I'm like that, you know. And when I saw this one, I was like, man, this one looks really nice, you know. So I went with that one, and I'm glad I did, because I like the shorter. That other one was kind of bigger and fatter. I like this one better. And I was preparing to get the Milwaukee from the reviews on videos, but when I saw this one and felt the Milwaukee, this one just sold me. So I'm glad I got that one, and I got a 3 amp hour battery instead of the 2 amp hour battery that you would have got with the Milwaukee for the same price. So glad I got that. So where was I at? Okay, so I got the cases all cleaned, blew them out real good, cleaned them all, got the oil pump cleaned out, you know, sanded a little bit of things on it and cleaned it out. I was checking all the shafts and everything. And these bearings, I think they'll survive. Yeah, I didn't take them out of the case. I just blew them out, you know, and then oiled them up, you know. I know that's just, you know, the way I'm doing things here. Okay, so I know that's not the right way. You got to take all the bearings out and get new ones, but I'm trying to do this project as cheap as possible. If I don't have to replace a bearing, I'm not going to replace it, you know. I think these will survive. They feel great. This is the final drive. This is the, what is that? That's the support end to the clutch. And this is the clutch bearing. And this is the support end to the final drive. And of course the bearings on here. I did put this back in. I took this all apart and washed all that bearing out. All them bearings there feel fine. Got the oil pump, put some oil down here, turned it, and it seemed like it was sucking and everything, so that's working. And let me see. So there's the oil pump. And here's the weird, you know, these, I was checking all these races on these gears here, gears there, you know. So here's this gear here goes, that's the kickstart. Then this idle gear sits in here like this, and it just sits in there. And then the clutch basket goes on. There's a gear that rides this. This other gear rides, no, this is another gear in here on the clutch basket. That also rides another idle gear here that rides the oil pump. Now if you notice, this idle gear here that drives the kickstart when you kick it, starts the engine, this one's always running. And if you notice, there's nothing, there's no mount. It just sits in there. That's all it does. And it's a dual purpose. It's also the vent, crankcase vent. And it's almost like the PVC where it separates the oil. So when this is spinning, air can go through in here and out here, goes through that shaft and out the top. And it just like a vent. But it just sits there. And I thought that was kind of weird. It doesn't mount or anything. It just sits there and spins, rides on that gear, rides on. And when you start the engine, it's always running. This one and this one over here. It's always running. It's weird. I thought that was kind of weird. So I was looking at how the oil pumps on this little pump here. It's actually got two pumps. There's a scavenger pump and then the main pump. And here's what's weird. And I saw that this is the normal thing to do on these street bikes because I looked at other models and they seem to all do this. So there's two little screen filters here. This screen filter sucks up into the scavenger pump. I think that's the scavenger pump. So any oil that comes down here, it sucks it up into this screen and just directly pumps it into this side. Of course it goes, you know, and then this side of the pump goes up to the screen, goes to the filter, then it goes to the head, and also, you know, oil comes out of this little jet here and all that, and then it comes back down here. So any trash that comes out of here gets sucked up, goes into this little screen here, doesn't go through the filter, but gets pumped right into the transmission. And I thought that was kind of weird because that's how all the trash got into it. Now, if it would have went to the filter first and then went in here, it would have probably been better. I don't know why they made it like that. I thought that was kind of weird. Pumps it up, goes through this filter, goes right in there, and that's it. That's the way they did it. And then this one pumps up, goes through the screen, goes through the filter, goes through the head, goes through the bearings, pumps all that. So that's how that pump works. So I put oil in here and turned that little pump. Seemed to pump, worked great. And I got to double check that. So once I put it together, I also put the cases together with that. I was checking all the gears and, you know, the bearings and putting that shaft in there and filling the, you know, this one you can see that has absolutely no wear on it. And just double checking everything. And I put this together and spun it with this thing. It feels good. You know, I put the clutch basket on and, you know, it's felt good. So I think these bearings here will survive. We'll double check them, you know. I'm going to try to do this as cheap as possible. That's what I'm already getting up there just by getting these bearings. I ordered these bearings here. I got the crank coming. I got a piston coming, of course, gaskets and seals and all that stuff. So, but now I can see because I got a 150 watt. I was working with that other light. I couldn't believe it, but this one's a lot brighter. So without making this video too much longer, I just wanted to show you this and talk about my new Makita. Man, this thing, I really like the way it feels in your hand. It's just so much smaller than that other one. And I'm glad I bought that one because I really need one of those to break these bolts because that crankshaft bolt was hard to get off and I couldn't get this one off. And that one was supposedly torqued to 65 pounds and it knocked that off like nothing. And I did watch other videos of them doing tests to see how much these things can, you know, how much foot-pounds that these can knock off. And this one was doing 200 foot-pounds knocking bolts off. So, I mean, that's good enough right there, you know. I think they rate them in inch pounds. Like this one was like 1,600 inch pounds. And if you convert that, it's supposed to be 140. But it was knocking off 200 foot-pound bolts, no problem, on the test videos. And of course, Makita was doing, no, Milwaukee was really, I mean, it was beating all of these as far as, you know, impact force and really knocking things loose, you know, and driving big old screws and wood. That Makita, I was like, man, that thing It's powerful, it gets down. But in the end, when I looked at it, I was just like, nah. Didn't like the way it felt. I didn't like the way it looked. And I went with this one because I liked it. When I saw it, I was just like, man, I like that one, you know. And it wasn't that much bad off compared to the Milwaukee. And the DeWalt, didn't like it. The Ryobi, it was all right, but you know, Ryobi, always buy Ryobi. I think I got a screwdriver thing up there. Tore it all to hell trying to, you know, do sheetrock and all kind of home stuff, you know. And that thing, that Ryobi, the drill itself lasted a long time, but the battery went dead, you know. So just one of those cheap ones. But I usually don't buy the expensive ones. This is probably the only one I've really ever bought that was kind of expensive. So I just normally tear them up and throw them away, you know. I don't really collect them. So anyway, enough said about that. So, waiting for the bearings. I gotta put these bearings in and put the crank in. Then I can stuff all this other stuff in and get this thing back together. We'll be up and having a full, you know, engine together here pretty soon. Just waiting for parts, really. And I got to get a couple seals and gaskets. But I think I'm gonna have to go to a dealer for that, for the gaskets. And probably the seals. Well, I found the seals online, but I couldn't find this gasket for cheap as much as, you know, getting at the dealer. For some reason, people want more for it when you're looking online. But other than that, I guess we'll wrap this up here. I don't want to make this video too much longer. So, let's see, what are we at now? That's good time right there, 16 minutes. Not to bore you too much, but I really like my new tool. This thing, man, I put it on that bolt and bam, man, it came. I was like, dog. I was like, damn. I thought I was gonna have to sit there and really get after it, but man, I put it on there and boom, it just knocked. It went and it came right off of there. I was like, damn, that's a pretty neat little drill there. Really like it. And it came with a little case and of course the charger and everything. Makita. I just like, man, I don't know. I just like the way this one felt in my hand compared to those other ones. Just this shorter feel up here. And the way it looked, that's what the big selling point was for me. Because that Milwaukee just didn't look right. It just had this gap on the battery down there. It's right around here at the bottom. Right there in the front. Like right in this area had gaps and it would rattle. And the edges of the plastic where the two pieces meet together, they were all bending up. And I was like, what is this? You know, it was just so cheap looking. And this, I remember this little light up here didn't look right. And I was looking at it, I was like, oh, no. And I put it down. I was like, forget that. And then I saw this one. And I was like, man, that one looks nice. I mean, look at it. It's so small. And it's powerful. It came with a 3 amp hour battery. That's cool. All right, so I guess I want to wrap this video up here. I really like that light, boy. I can see. I know I need to get a bigger table and everything, but that's what I'm working with for now. I am going to clean up a little bit when I start putting this thing together, so nothing gets lost. But what else? Yeah, I like that light. I also got a bulb, 150 watt, so that's much better. All right, I guess we'll wrap this up here, and we're going to see what happens next. Once I get my parts, that's going to be cool. And soon enough, we're going to be out riding. Well, hopefully this thing works out good. I think it will. All right, I'm out for this one.